Welcome to Breaking News to Trading Moves. We are focused today on really a single event that has provided a clear way to categorize the technology landscape.
That's right, and it's the recent Q4 2025 earnings report from Taiwan Semiconductor, TSMC.
And that report, it's proving to be a really effective lens, I think, to view the current market dynamics.
It is. So our objective for you today is pretty straightforward. We're going to dissect the facts presented in that report.
And from there, we'll carefully break down the resulting market view of winners and losers across the whole tech sector.
Yeah, and we're looking strictly at the implications from this one set of financial results, nothing more.
Right. We want to understand precisely why this TSMC report is so instructive. It's not just about one company doing well. It's about what that success signals for really every other company we're going to talk about today.
It all comes down to TSMC's position. They're at the choke point of the advanced technology supply chain. So their performance is, an instant indicator of where the money is flowing in the broader tech ecosystem.
Okay, so let's start with the hard numbers then. The headline is compelling.
It is.
TSMC's Q4 net profit jumped 35% year over year. That brought them to a record $505.7 billion.
And to put that in context for you, that result just completely surpassed the consensus estimates from analysts.
So it's a performance that demands attention.
It really does. And the source of that strength was unambiguously identified. The key growth engine was the surging demand for chips used specifically in artificial intelligence. AI. This result immediately reinforced TSMC's position as the critical, undisputed foundry, the essential manufacturing partner for the world's leading AI accelerators and other premium devices.
And when you talk about those leading customers, the material is quite specific. It cites heavyweights like Nvidia.
That's Nvidia.
And Apple.
Yeah.
AAPL. Their primary customers relying on this foundry.
Exactly. So this isn't just about some general, post-pandemic chip recovery.
No.
This is a highly targeted, accelerated demand for AI infrastructure.
Okay.
That's the crux of the matter. We're talking about the highest performing and most complex silicon ever designed. And TSMC is really the only company that's capable of manufacturing these chips at the required volume and, at the required yield.
Especially for the advanced nodes.
Especially for the advanced nodes. Think 3 nanometer, 4 nanometer process technologies. Their record profits confirm that these enormous capital expenditure cycles, which are driven by the need for high-performance compute, the chips that enable AI, they're not only sustained, they're actually accelerating.
That's a crucial validation for the whole AI thesis then.
It is.
Let's maybe delve into what those advanced nodes mean for, the listener who might not live and breathe semiconductor manufacturing. When we say advanced node, why is TSMC's dominance there so proprietary?
That's a great question. So think of a chip's node as the smallest feature size you can print on the silicon wafer. A smaller number, like moving from 5 nanometers down to 3 nanometers. It means the transistors, which are the tiny switches inside the chip, can be packed much, much closer together.
Which gives you more performance.
It gives you dramatically higher performance and lower power consumption. So for AI accelerators, where you might have hundreds of billions of transistors all working in parallel, achieving that 3 nanometer density is the difference between a functional product and a market-leading one.
And that's not easy to do.
No, it requires immense precision, specialized tooling, and, proprietary manufacturing recipes that TSMC has spent decades developing. No competitor can match it right now, which is why their record profit matters so much. It confirms they're holding the most valuable ground in tech manufacturing.
Okay, that makes sense.
This leads us directly to the broader market context. Why TSMC, the foundry, holds such a pivotal and, frankly, disproportionate position in the global economy.
Right.
When the world's most important advanced node foundry achieves a record profit, it doesn't just benefit TSMC stockholders. It sends an exceptionally clear, almost immediate signal to the market about the health, speed, and direction of the technology cycles it supports.
So if TSMC is reporting record revenue, mainly because a handful of companies like Nvidia are buying up all their cutting-edge capacity for AI chips, that confirmation just instantly adjusts market sentiment.
It does.
It gives a structural reading of the supply chain's current vigor. It's basically saying the AI revolution is real and it's happening now.
That is the mechanism, exactly. The positive effect cascades almost instantly across what we call the entire AI compute stack.
It's a deck, okay.
And we see this immediate effect categorized across three main segments. First, you have the actual chip designers, the companies creating the silicon blueprints that TSMC manufactures.
They get confirmed order visibility.
Right. Second, the wafer fab equipment suppliers. These are the companies providing the multi-million-dollar sophisticated machinery TSMC needs. Their demand outlook just improved dramatically.
And the third.
And third, the high-bandwidth networking providers. The essential companies that connect all those AI chips together in these massive data centers. All three of those categories get a noticeable lift when TSMC performs this strongly.
That structural certainty for the winners makes perfect sense. But there's a flip side to this AI momentum, isn't there?
There is a very crucial flip side, which the report details under the heading of market pressure. It highlights how investor priorities change when AI is confirmed to be growing this explosively.
Right.
And that rotation of attention and capital is maybe the most important dynamic for you to grasp.
Okay.
When one sector, in this case, AI compute, shows exceptional growth rates and it's backed by the manufacturing leader, investor focus just shifts dramatically toward those AI-linked names we just talked about.
And that tendency, by definition, puts pressure on the other semiconductor pockets, the ones categorized as non-AI. So let's talk about that pressure for a moment. If a company that serves, say, the automotive sector is performing well, maybe growing revenue by 8% year over year, why would they be categorized as facing pressure?
It's all about relativity and capital allocation. Think of it like a spotlight.
Yeah.
Before the TSMC report, the investment spotlight was kind of diffused, shining on all parts of the tech economy, handsets, automotive, industrial, and AI.
Right.
Now, the TSMC results act like a massive floodlight, confirming that AI is growing at 25 or 35%.
So that 8% growth suddenly looks small.
It looks sluggish in comparison. And capital, which is always seeking the highest return on growth, naturally rotates toward the confirmed AI winners, and that causes valuation pressure on the seemingly slower-growing foundational sectors.
So the term loser in this context is purely relative. It's defined by the opportunity cost of investing somewhere else.
That's the perfect way to put it.
And what specific areas are identified as facing this pressure due to that investor rotation?
Well, the material lists several specific slower growth areas that are feeling the squeeze. These include personal computers or PCs, handsets, and the broad category of industrial analog chips.
So the implication is pretty clear. The overwhelming strength of AI draws attention and, more importantly, capital away from these foundational sectors.
Yes. Their relative growth profiles just look less appealing, which can affect their valuation metrics and their ability to attract new investment, at least in the near term. It's a powerful illustration of the market chasing high-velocity growth.
Okay, let's transition now and spend some quality time on the companies identified as the clear winners.
Let's do it.
These are the companies described as riding the advanced node capacity confirmed by TSMC's performance. And we're starting with the AI chip designers.
Right. This category represents the most direct beneficiaries. Strong TSMC profitability signals a sustained and likely accelerating demand for these cutting-edge wafers.
The essential inputs for AI accelerators.
For AI accelerators, high-end graphics processing units, and custom compute systems designed by these companies.
Yes. And that signal translates directly into concrete business advantages for them. Specifically, better order visibility.
That's the key.
If TSMC is running their most advanced fabs at maximum capacity and posting record profits, it means these designers have a very clear line of sight into the robust, long-term demand pipeline for their chips.
Right. They can plan their own manufacturing schedules, confidently placing these huge, expensive, advanced node orders years in advance.
So let's break down the individual names. First, we have to start with Nvidia.
We do. Ticker NVDA. They are the market leader, practically synonymous with AI accelerators.
Their reliance on TSMC is total.
It is, for their most advanced GPUs and custom silicon. So TSMC's success is a direct quantitative validation of NVIDIA's massive and continuing AI pipeline.
The fact that TSMC beat estimates means NVDA is getting the capacity they need.
And that the demand for their end product is even higher than anyone anticipated.
And when we talk about NVIDIA, it's not just about the volume of chips, is it? It's the technical difficulty of those chips.
Oh, absolutely. Their latest accelerators are enormous pieces of silicon. They're pushing the limits of what TSMC can even fabricate on a single wafer.
It's all about the packaging technologies, too.
Precisely. They use TSMC's most complex packaging tech, like CoWoS, that's chip-on-wafer-on-substrate.
Right.
This isn't just about printing small transistors, it's about stacking memory and multiple pieces of silicon together in a single high-performance module. TSMC's successful Q4 confirms they've mastered these complex processes and are delivering them at scale, which directly enables Nvidia to maintain its technical and market lead.
Okay, next up we have Advanced Micro Devices, that's AMD.
AMD.
They're aggressively competing in the high-performance compute and data center market, particularly with their own AI accelerators. How does TSMC's success confirm AMD's strategy?
Well, TSMC's strength here signals that the total AI infrastructure build-out is so robust. The data center capital expenditure is so great that there's plenty of room for multiple major players.
It's not a zero-sum game.
Not at this stage. AMD's strategy relies heavily on TSMC for advanced manufacturing to challenge Nvidia. So, the TSMC results confirm that the market is expanding fast enough to absorb high-volume production from both major competitors. It validates AMD's investment in its own high-end chip designs.
Okay, moving on to a slightly different segment of AI infrastructure. Networking and specialized compute. Let's talk about Broadcom.
Ticker AVGO.
Right. Broadcom's connection seems a bit less direct than the pure GPU designers.
It seems that way, but their business is deeply intertwined with data center networking and custom silicon for the hyperscalers, what we often call ASICs.
Okay.
Their demand is highly specialized, and it relies on TSMC's advanced process technology to deliver custom high-performance networking solutions for companies like Google or Amazon.
So if TSMC is thriving,
It means those hyperscalers are investing heavily in the underlying infrastructure that AVGO supplies. The validation here is that the custom AI silicon market, which Broadcom dominates, is also accelerating right alongside the standard AI accelerator market.
and finally, in this chip design category, we find Qualcomm, ticker QCOM. Now, QCOM is traditionally known for its dominance in smartphone chips, but they're listed here among the winners. What's the specific context?
This is a perfect example of why this kind of analysis matters. While Qualcomm still relies heavily on handsets, they are actively and successfully diversifying
Into automotive.
into high-end automotive, AI edge computing, and specialized high-performance computing. And to succeed in those new, higher-margin segments, they absolutely need access to TSMC's leading-edge nodes.
Okay.
Their inclusion as a winner is a market recognition that TSMC's capacity strength gives Qualcomm the technical ability to push performance boundaries in these new markets, moving beyond the saturated growth cycle of the standard smartphone market.
So this whole category of designers thrives on TSMC's ability to execute at the extreme technological edge.
That's the bottom line.
All right, moving beyond the actual silicon designers, we turn to the wafer fab equipment and process control suppliers.
Yes. This is where TSMC's confirmed financial strength converts immediately into massive concrete capital expenditure for sophisticated machinery.
The logic here seems beautifully circular. When demand for leading-edge tech is confirmed as strong, which TSMC's record profit does, the foundries can't afford to stand still.
They can't. They have to keep investing heavily, not just in new buildings, but in the specific tools, in maximizing yield improvement, and in inspection metrology to ensure both quality and throughput.
So TSMC's strength is seen by the market as a kind of guaranteed forward demand.
Exactly. Equipment spending and utilization will now spill over across the entire supply chain of these tool makers.
These are the companies that supply the multi-million-dollar complex machines needed to make chips at the 3-nanometer or 2-nanometer node.
Right. The fact that TSMC reported a record profit implies their internal CapEx forecast remains extremely high for the coming years.
Let's get into the specific companies, starting with Applied Materials, ticker AMAT. What's their specific role in this cycle?
AMAT is a foundational supplier. They provide equipment for numerous essential steps in the chip manufacturing process. Things like deposition, etch, and chemical-mechanical planarization, or CMP.
Okay.
When you're moving to a 3-nanometer node, the number of steps required to build the chip just increases exponentially, and each layer has to be perfectly deposited and prepared. A TSMC-driven CapEx cycle means guaranteed, high-volume demand for AMAT's highly sophisticated tool sets.
especially those for advanced packaging.
Especially for the advanced packaging that Nvidia requires, yes.
And what about Lam Research, ticker LRCX? I understand they specialize in a particular part of the process.
They do. LRCX specializes heavily in deposition and etching equipment. Etching is the process of carving away material to create the microscopic circuits on the wafer.
And at these advanced nodes, that has to be incredibly precise.
Atomic scale precise. They're carving structures thinner than a human hair on millions of chips at the same time. TSMC's push for leading-edge capacity directly translates to immediate critical orders for LRCX's next-generation tools. These tools are often the bottleneck in the manufacturing process.
So if TSMC's ramping up, they're placing big orders with Lam.
Big orders, exactly.
We often hear about yield rates and how critical they are to profitability. That leads us to KLA.
Ticker KLAC.
They focus on process control, right?
Yes. KLAC focuses on process control and inspection metrology. You hit on the critical point. Yield. Even one tiny defect on a wafer can render a complex, expensive AI chip completely useless.
And KLA provides the inspection systems to find those defects.
They provide the sophisticated systems that ensure the chips being made are flawless, layer by microscopic layer. So when TSMC is rapidly ramping up these incredibly advanced nodes, which are inherently riskier in terms of yield, their need for KLAC's advanced inspection and quality control tools just skyrockets.
They're helping TSMC ensure they're getting maximum return on their massive investment.
In a nutshell, yes. The strength in the foundry's balance sheet translates directly into utilization and accelerated investment for all three of these toolmakers.
I just want to pause here and reinforce that idea of metrology. For those who aren't familiar, we're talking about the science of measurement. Why is KLA's role in measuring these layers so complex at, say, the 3-nanometer level?
It's mind-bogglingly difficult. At 3 nanometers, the features are thousands of times smaller than the wavelengths of visible light. You can't just use a normal microscope.
So what do they use?
KLAC uses highly advanced techniques involving electron beams and complex algorithms to detect tiny particulate defects or structural variations that could lead to electrical failures. When TSMC is trying to mass-produce Nvidia's massive AI chips, where the cost per wafer is astronomical, KLAC's ability to detect a fault early saves TSMC millions.
They're policing the manufacturing process.
That's a great way to put it. They are indispensable during a high-speed capacity ramp, the very ramp that's confirmed by this Q4 report.
Okay, our third and final category of winners involves the data center and AI infrastructure ecosystem.
Right. This moves us a step further down the supply chain, past the chip, past the equipment, and into the actual systems where those chips have to operate.
And the premise here is that AI-driven semiconductor demand doesn't happen in a vacuum.
No, it doesn't. You don't just buy 100,000 chips. You buy 100,000 chips, and then you need the specialized servers to house them, the high-performance networking gear to link them together.
And the massive cooling and racking infrastructure to power them.
Exactly. So a strong TSMC report confirming robust AI demand usually tracks perfectly with broader data center buildouts by the hyperscalers.
Microsoft, Amazon, Google.
All of them.
And those buildouts require specific high-spec components, specialized AI servers, extremely high-speed networking gear. The overall conclusion supported by the TSMC report is that the AI capital expenditure cycle is intact.
And that provides enormous financial confidence to every vendor supplying the physical backbone of the AI economy.
Let's talk about the 4 key names here, starting with Arista Networks, ticker ANET.
ANET is a leader in high-performance cloud-grade networking solutions. To connect thousands of Nvidia or AMD accelerators within a single data center so they can work as a unified AI brain, you need networking speeds measured in hundreds of gigabits per second.
Standard Ethernet gear can't handle that.
It just can't handle the required data flow. If the AI build-out is confirmed as intact by TSMC's results, ANET's specialized networking equipment is essential.
So the crucial takeaway for Arista is that their entire product strategy is designed specifically for these massive hyperscaler environments. Their fortunes are directly tied to that infrastructure expansion.
Exactly. And then you have Supermicrocomputer.
Ticker SMCI.
SMCI has become a powerhouse because they are extremely responsive in delivering optimized server and storage solutions.
They tailor their servers for the highest performing AI chips.
They do, integrating the advanced cooling solutions that those chips require. They're a pure-play beneficiary of the hyperscalers and enterprises needing ready-made, high-density AI servers quickly and efficiently. They are directly capitalizing on the sheer volume of chips TSMC is producing for their customers.
And we also see two of the traditional IT infrastructure providers whose server businesses benefit from this cycle. Let's look at Dell Technologies, DELL.
Dell has a broad portfolio, but their high-end servers and storage solutions are integral to enterprise AI adoption and the development of private clouds.
They aren't as specialized as SMCI.
No, not in pure AI rack density, but TSMC's results give confidence that the high-end server market, where Dell competes fiercely, will remain robust as companies outside the top 5 hyperscalers also invest in AI capability. The confirmation of the AI cycle gives Dell a positive tailwind in their premium server segment.
And the same logic applies to Hewlett-Packard Enterprise then.
It does, ticker HPE.
HPE.
That's correct. HPE also provides server and storage infrastructure tailored heavily for high-performance computing and enterprise data centers. They often sell directly to corporations and governments. When TSMC confirms the AI CapEx cycle is strong, it provides a positive demand forecast for both Dell and HPE as system providers.
Particularly as AI applications move out of the hyperscalers and into the broader enterprise market.
Which requires a massive deployment of new server hardware. The confidence TSMC gives the market just reinforces the purchasing decisions of those system buyers.
Okay, now we have to transition to category 2. The losers.
Yes. And these are the segments facing competitive pressure or a rotation of investor focus, directly because of the dominance of this AI narrative that TSMC's success is now confirmed with, well, with great clarity.
And we should reiterate here, loser is a relative term.
Absolutely.
It doesn't mean failure. It just means the company's valuation or competitive position relative to the AI winners is under intense pressure, often just because investor capital is seeking higher growth somewhere else.
That distinction is necessary. So let's start with the foundry and CPU challengers. The companies fighting an uphill battle for relevance at the cutting edge. TSMC's record results reinforce its already immense leadership position in advanced manufacturing.
And that success means that the competitive bar for anyone trying to gain leading-edge share or build out their own independent foundry business is not just high, it's being raised exponentially year after year.
It is. TSMC's execution acts as a severe structural competitive challenge for its rivals.
The first name cited, predictably, is Intel.
Ticker INTC. Intel is undertaking an incredibly ambitious multi-billion-dollar effort to try and catch up to TSMC in manufacturing technology.
And also attempting to expand its own foundry services.
Right, for external customers. And TSMC's powerful Q4 performance just underscores exactly how difficult and immensely expensive that catch-up effort is going to be. It leads the market to be deeply skeptical of quick gains for INTC in the advanced foundry space.
So every TSMC success report is, in a way, a quantification of Intel's challenge.
That's a critical point. When Intel announces a roadmap for a new node, TSMC's immediate record profit demonstrates that TSMC is executing now at scale and profitably. This just reduces the market's patience for Intel's long-term plan.
Right. The market demands proof.
Proof of capability and yield, and TSMC is delivering that proof constantly. The other name here is IBM. Ticker IBM.
IBM.
Now, IBM is primarily focused on enterprise software and services, but they still maintain deep roots and research efforts in advanced computing and chip technology.
With some notable collaborations.
Yes. And TSMC's confirmed lead in AI manufacturing sets a very high-performance standard for anyone aspiring to advanced compute relevance. So while IBM isn't building chips at TSMC scale, their hardware and advanced tech aspirations face competitive pressure when the undisputed leader is performing at this level.
So this category is defined by the high cost of entry and the diminishing returns of being a technological follower in a race where the leader, TSMC, is just accelerating its pace.
That's it, exactly.
Okay, moving on to the broader category of non-AI semiconductors. The industry narrative, backed by TSMC's numbers, is crystal clear. AI is the primary engine of high-velocity growth right now.
And we have to return to that key mechanism of capital rotation. If AI offers, say, 25% plus growth rates, and a foundational segment offers 5 to 10% growth, that disparity in return potential becomes irresistible for investors.
Money seeks the highest acceleration.
It does. Capital rotates away from chipmakers heavily exposed to analog and industrial markets if their growth profile looks comparatively slower than those linked to AI.
These are essential companies, though. The bedrock of basic electronics, industrial automation, power management.
Of course. but they suddenly look less attractive purely from a growth perspective in a highly competitive market.
Take Texas Instruments, ticker TXN.
Right, TXN is an absolute powerhouse in analog and embedded processing chips. They go into everything from electric vehicles to factory equipment to consumer devices.
They're on a massive diversified scale.
They are. But because they're industrial and analog heavy, the market views their overall growth profile as stable, predictable, but a lot slower compared to the AI infrastructure companies. TXN's business cycles are longer and more measured, whereas AI is explosive and demand-driven.
The difference in their business models is instructive here too, isn't it?
Hmm.
TXN produces tens of thousands of different products on older, more mature, and less costly process nodes, optimized for reliability and low cost.
Right.
TSMC is producing fewer products but pushing the absolute performance envelope.
That is the essential contrast. TXN and TSMC are operating on completely different clock speeds. The investment rotation acknowledges that. Similarly, we have microchip technology.
Ticker MCHP.
MCHP supplies microcontrollers and specialized analog solutions, largely to industrial and automotive customers. And while these are critical, resilient markets, the TSMC report confirming AI dominance means MCHP's traditional markets are being comparatively overlooked by growth-focused investors who prioritize quarterly acceleration.
And finally, On Semi.
ON.
A supplier focused heavily on intelligent power and sensing technologies, often for automotive power management and industrial markets. Why do they face pressure despite the strong trend toward electrification?
They face pressure because of that comparison factor. ON is serving core segments of the economy. Automotive is a huge focus for them, but in the context of a record-breaking AI surge, ON's reliance on slower-moving, cyclical industrial and automotive segments makes them vulnerable to the rotation of investor capital.
So investors look at TSMC's AI velocity.
And they conclude that the fastest way to make money is in the data center, not necessarily in the dashboard of a car, even if that market is also growing.
Okay. Our final pressure point category focuses specifically on smartphone-exposed chip suppliers.
And this category is tied closely and negatively to the core narrative of the TSMC report.
The distinction here is key. The TSMC Q4 update was explicitly driven by AI demand, the material stressed, not by unexpected strength or growth in the consumer handset market.
It's a non-endorsement. In this AI-dominant narrative environment where everything is measured against AI's growth rate, companies focused primarily on handsets can see immediate underperformance,
So investors are maintaining their focus strictly on data center compute demand.
leaving the handset market, which is mature, competitive, and potentially seeing slower unit growth, as a comparative laggard.
So TSMC's record quarter, fueled by AI, serves as an implicit confirmation that the consumer electronics side of the business just isn't the current growth story.
That's right.
Let's look at the two names cited here. First, Skyworks Solutions.
Ticker SWKS. Skyworks is heavily exposed to the mobile device market. They supply radio frequency modules and components that are essential for smartphone connectivity.
So if AI is the massive accelerating growth story,
Then the companies providing components for mature, slower-moving consumer devices are, by definition, less attractive to growth investors. Their business is cyclical. It's tied to the unit volume of device shipments, not the exponentially increasing capital expenditure on AI infrastructure.
and the same logic applies to Qorvo, ticker QRVO.
Absolutely. Qorvo is another key supplier of radio frequency solutions and front-end modules, primarily for mobile devices. They serve similar customers as Skyworks. The market just views these companies as less appealing when the confirmed headline growth driver, TSMC, asserts that all the acceleration is happening in the data center and in high-performance compute.
Not in personal electronic devices.
Right. The rotation of capital here is less about competition and more about the maturity of the end market they serve compared to the high-velocity infancy of the AI infrastructure market.
It's worth spending a moment on the cycle differences between those two end markets, handsets and AI infrastructure. Handsets have, what, a 2 to 3 year replacement cycle? Market saturation is high. AI infrastructure, on the other hand, is a brand new build-out phase that might last 5 to 10 years.
That's exactly the core tension the market is responding to. Handsets depend on consumers replacing their devices, which is a fairly predictable low-growth cycle now.
And AI infrastructure.
It relies on corporate hyperscalers building out data center capacity that did not exist before, driven by the massive computing needs of training AI models. This is a capital expenditure cycle, not a consumer replacement cycle. And TSMC's record quarter confirms the depth and duration of that AI capital expenditure cycle, making it the superior investment narrative right now.
Okay, to summarize our analysis based purely on the TSMC report, the core fact is that TSMC's record quarter firmly confirms the vigor and velocity of the AI investment cycle.
And that confirmation is the single most important takeaway that dictates the rest of the market's reaction.
And the immediate market takeaway is equally clear. The flow of attention, and consequently capital, is strongly indicated to favor the AI infrastructure ecosystem.
Right. That means the focus is on the chip designers, the equipment suppliers who enable TSMC's capacity, and the data center builders.
Conversely, this confirmed AI strength creates immediate comparative pressure on three specific groups. First, competitors fighting for advanced manufacturing relevance.
Second, foundational tech segments like industrial analog that just have a slower growth profile.
And third, companies whose primary exposure is to the mature handset market.
Yes.
So, if we consider the sustained accelerating investment in advanced manufacturing capacity, which TSMC's financial strength clearly evidences, we should seriously consider the level of long-term economic and competitive pressure that might be created on those companies that rely primarily on industrial or handset market growth for their future expansion. The capacity TSMC is adding now for AI fundamentally alters the competitive landscape for everyone. It favors those who rely on bleeding-edge performance over those who rely on established, stable volume.
And this divergence in capex and growth expectation could stretch valuations even further in the coming periods.
It could, creating a two-tiered technology market. A thought for you to consider as you process these findings and evaluate where the true growth engines of the technology economy reside. We must state clearly, this is not financial advice, nor is it a recommendation to buy or sell any security. This is purely the opinion of the author.